Serious, those of you who have actually signed up for and used meet and frick sites, have they worked? And if so, what was your experience like? I'd been on Adult Friend Finder a long time ago and met some cool people, so a couple of years ago, having recovered from a long relationship, I gave it another go and ended up meeting a very cool girl. We slept together on the first date, but things didn't end up going in a romantic direction and we remained good friends. Flash forward a year to my needing a kidney because of a genetic disease, and my doctors had me go find potential donors to be tested for transplant. The doctors literally said bring us any warm body, which should probably also be Adult Friend Finder's motto. A bunch of my friends got tested, but my adult friend I found turned out to be a very good match and wanted to donate. The surgery was over the summer. I'm in fantastic shape now, and she's a remarkable person for doing this for me. And now I can always joke I've been inside of her. Now she's inside of me. I was flipping through Tinder when I found an absolutely beautiful girl with heterochromia. Looking at her pictures, I figured she must get 100 messages a day from guys. I'm just an average, nerdy guy. I wouldn't even be on this girl's radar. Frick it, I'll swipe right on her anyways. 10 minutes later she messaged me saying I was cute. Now we'd been together over a year, lived together, and I couldn't imagine being with anyone else. She's the best girlfriend I've ever had. Also, it was fun to explain to my parents how exactly we met. I used Adult Friend Finder several years ago while I was in college, and before I've turned into nothing but bots having cyberfrick with each other. I took a shotgun approach, message everything with a coochie in a 20-mile radius and wait. The one response that turned into something was a chick who was about 10 years my senior. Solid 6/10 in her profile picture, which was apparently several years old. She was a little chubby in the picture, and when we eventually met up at a bar, she was large. The kind of large where just every part of her body had boobs on it. She also smelled. We both drank a beer and I made up some BS about having to leave for work. We said goodbye in the parking lot and she blew me a little bit by her geep. She also sneakily stuck her hand in her purse and squirted perfume on her hand and rubbed it all over my junk. It wasn't until years later that I realized that she was trying to get me busted for cheating with her, even though I was single at the time. She thought that's why I was leaving. I stopped trying to get those sites to work after that. This is exactly how I imagined a meetup on that site would go. If you are referring to Tinder, I swiped right on a guy while on vacation. We ended up getting married. Oh man, this is my time to shine kinda sorta. For reference, I'm from Chicago. Work sent me to Australia, and I took advantage of the trip to wander all over the continent and to visit New Zealand. Cause who the heck wouldn't? Anyway, I had Tinder the whole time I was there, and I used the tried and true always swipe right method. I made some interesting matches, including a girl named Penelope who wanted to bake my dong into a pie. We did not meet, and a transgender MTF who accused me of having a fetish when I said that I wasn't interested in hooking up with a transsexual person. Nothing against you, more power to you, and you should have all the same rights as everyone else, but that doesn't mean I'm interested in sticking my ding ding dong in your hoo-ha. Anyway, I matched with a pretty cool chick my last night in Brizzy. Sadly, she had work the next day and I left for New Zealand the next day, so we never met IRL, but we kept chatting and added one another on Snapchat and, eventually, Facebook. I went back to the States, kept chatting. After about 3 months of this, I asked her if she'd like to meet me on a travel date since, you know, I liked her. I suggested Hawaii, because that's halfway between us both and would be a cool place to explore. She immediately replies, how about Iceland instead? Note, Iceland is the opposite of Hawaii in almost every way, shape, and form. Colder. Totally different though still pretty. Landscape. Beautiful Nordic people instead of beautiful oceanic people. They use almost all consonants to name things compared to Hawaiians who use almost all vowels. Pretty much the most different choice from Hawaii you could choose. But I went with it, despite my brain saying, this is an excellent way to lose a kidney. Seth. We were there for 2 weeks. It was actually awesome. We drove the ring road and camped and were intimate those nights. I was so happy, because one night I got to use the "that was freaking intense" pun. She just looked at me in disgust and said, "Get out of me," which was fair. We still talk and she is still disgusted with me for that pun. 10/10, would recommend. I used it years ago, met some amazing people. Although it's just a frick site, I made extremely close friends that I'm still friends with almost 10 years later. And when I'm feeling bored or frisky, I can ask them for pictures. It's like I have personal pornsters. I ended up getting arrested. It turns out the girl lied. She was 15 but said she was 18. She freaking lied on her profile. Lied to me in person and text messages. Even when the cops got there and were outside, she assured me she was 18. This was a while ago in the early 2000s. I was 23 or 24 YO I think. We were getting it on in the back of my car, and a cop comes up and talks to us. She looks young, so he has her come sit with him in his car. We were parked up a hill in a spot where people go to do things like that. Another cop comes over, tells me I'm under arrest, and I spend a night terrified in the police station, being interviewed by detectives the whole night, having my dong and balls swabbed, etc. Fortunately, the girl was honest and her parents were lenient, so I got to leave the next morning with no charges and nothing on my record. Scary as crap though. If a girl looks 18, you don't just assume she is. Be careful about that crap. I found an actual girl on AF. I was really surprised since I had cam model after cam model hitting me up. This led to chatting, then pictures, and finally a meetup. We messed around for the next 3 years. After a year she wanted to date, but I couldn't commit due to her not having a job or an education. But still, I couldn't say no to a girl who could suck a golf ball through a garden hose and enjoyed it as much as I did. This led to her cutting communication with me on and off throughout the 3 years. But the last time we hooked up, she told me she was pregnant about 2 weeks later. I was scared, but I was also not going to jet because if it was mine, I wanted a better life for him than she could provide. So I made her get him a paternity test. 2 weeks ago I got the results and I'm not the father. This ended bittersweet as I was led to believe I was the father and was prepared to be one. All the while she knew I wasn't. I used Craigslist and found a private glory hole in someone's house. I went there like 10 times and he was amazing. I would never do that because I'd fear the guy girl on the other side cutting my dong off for some weird dong collection. Disclaimer, I am a 20-something kinky and outgoing girl, so your results may vary. I've met intimate partners on Craigslist, Reddit, R4R and RAOBJ, Imgur, Babel6, FetLife, Tinder, and a variety of more traditional dating sites. They all worked in that I got tons of responses on all of them. I wouldn't recommend Craigslist to most people, but where I live is rural and relatively safe, so I used to use it here. Honestly, they're not that different than any traditional dating site. Fairly attractive man here. I've used them on several occasions. If you're a guy, try to avoid dong shots. They don't work as well, I promise. I've done it 4 times, met 4 women, and all 4 said something to the effect of, I chose to talk to you because your picture didn't have a dong in it and your bio is well put together and eloquent. All in all, I am still in contact with 3 of the 4 girls. The 4th was a raging alcoholic with 3 kids by 3 different men and insinuated that she was looking for another baby. Nope. I used to be on all the gay hookup sites I could find when I was single. Usually had a great time hanging out, drinking and whatnot. Then of course the dirty time after. It didn't always end in fricking. A few of the guys I met I actually made great friends with. Some of my best friends still to this day. One guy specifically I connected really well with. He fit right into my social circle and quickly became one of the best FWB a guy could ask for. Neither of us were looking to date or anything serious, but we just couldn't help ourselves. At one point we realized we were getting attached. He even told me we're gonna have to stop fricking. I think I'm falling in love with you. Well, I had been falling for him for some time at this point, and once I realized he was falling for me, I wasn't going to let it go. A few months later he moved in. A few months after that I proposed. A few months after our 1-year anniversary we got married. He's my best friend, my lover, and partner in crime. When we argue, which is rare, it's only about something one of us said the other took the wrong way, and it's always worked out before bedtime. I never thought I'd find anything but fricking, as I'd been hanging on those sites and then using the apps every time I was single over the course of 16 years or so. Hey, who knew? I'm just glad I hung in there. Neither of us have ever been so happy with every aspect of our lives due to the support we provide each other and the love we share. I don't know what you exotic stories you expect, but it's actually what anyone would expect it to be for gay guys. I've used Craigslist and Gaydar, both years ago, and it's worked in two ways. On Craigslist I once offered an extra concert ticket and found a guy who was to become a years-long friend. On Gaydar, I found someone to show me around a new city. We hit it off but not intimately. Another friend. But I also met several guys who almost literally did not want to talk at all. Just frick. Exchanging names were too much for them. I found it tiresome after just a few times. Then there's Grindr. I haven't personally used Grindr more than a few hours to see if there'd be interest, as I was in a committed relationship, but I've seen people have lots and lots of fun, just chatting, flirting, exchanging pics, hanging out and going dancing with friends, or just meeting up to frick. Grindr users seem more okay with themselves, at least the ones with faces in their pics, and not embarrassed or ashamed or rushed like Craigslist users were, so they're more willing to become friends with benefits. With the amount of friend and the amount of benefit much more flexible, I would use it if I found myself single again. Straight people may have drastically different results. My wife and I met on Adult Friend Finder, both single when we met, been married for 8 years this July. You've been visited by the good sleep oinker. You will be blessed with cozy, restful sleeps, but only if you comment sleep tight porker. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.